and welcome to this week's cooking lesson. Now, some of you might have been a little bit worried thinking that because you're not at school, you wouldn't get to cook each week. Well, I've got some good news for you because every single week I will be releasing an instructional video. I'm giving you all the information, tips, tricks, and skills for you to be able to cook this recipe at home. So today you are going to be learning how to cook pumpkin soup. Pumpkin soup is one of my favourite recipes to make for my whole family and to enjoy on a cold winter's night. When cooking your pumpkin soup, or any recipe for that fact, the first thing that we need to think about is our safety. So today we're going to be cooking with vegetables, which means we are going to need a green chopping board. We are also going to need a non-slip mat. Now, if you don't have a non-slip mat at home, don't worry because you can use a damp tea towel. Just run it under a little bit of water, put it under your chopping board, and it will do exactly the same thing. Now, the first thing that we are going to be doing is we are going to slice our onion. Because this is going to get blitzed up later in our soup, we don't need to be worried too much about fine dicing it. So instead, we are going to slice it finely. To do this, we're going to curl our fingers back. We're going to take the top off, turn it around, and then cut the bottom off. And this will go in my food scrap bin. I'm then going to cut straight through the middle. Now see how I change my grip here, so that I'm actually using the overarch grip, and I'm going to slice straight through. And this is grounding my vegetables. To slice my onion, I want to follow the layers. So I'm going to put it on the board, and I'm going to start with lots of nice, fine slices. Now, as you can see, I'm being really careful to move my fingers back with each slice, and it's always the tip of my knife that is pressing against the board first. Prepare is our garlic cloves. Some people like to use their knife to crush the garlic, but I prefer to use your hand just because it's a little bit safer. You don't have to worry about slipping on the knife. So to prep your sweet potato, using a peeler, making sure your fingers are out of the way, and you're going to go nice long strips. Once you've removed the skin, we want a top and tail, just taking a very fine section off. And because our vegetable is round a little bit unsteady, we're going to go straight through the middle. Again, using the overhand grip through the middle and then into small pieces. The key to cutting pumpkin is not to cut the whole thing at once. You want to cut through half of it and then go through the other side. So, nice strong grip. As you can see, cut halfway through, gonna turn it round for the other side, bit of pressure, and then it's just going to sort of pop open like that. You're going to want to remove the seeds, and the easiest way to do that is to get a spoon and just to carefully scoop it out. If you wanted to, you could roast your pumpkin. It's a great way of getting lots more flavour into it. Today we're just going to cook it in with stock, so we're not going to worry about it. So I'm going to take the outside off. If you were to cook it in the oven, keep this on, sit it on a little bit of alfoil with a little bit of olive oil and cook it for about half an hour or until it starts to go golden on the outside and a bit soft on the inside. You can use a peel or a knife to take the skin off, whatever you feel more comfortable with. You're probably going to have to slice it into smaller pieces than this because this is a little bit large. And as you can see, as I'm trying to take some of the skin off, I'm going to hit areas where I can't actually get it. So I'm going to start by cutting it in half, hand on top, making sure my fingers are nice and flat. I'm then going to turn it over, cut it in half, and then probably into about 3. If you've got some really big pieces, you might want to cut them in half as well. So once it starts to colour up, you want to add your onion and your garlic into the bottom. Don't cook it at a really high heat because you want it to soften, not burn. So really you want to cook it for about 5 to 10 minutes before you start to add any of your other ingredients. And you'll notice it's cooked when it starts to go see-through and a little bit golden, but you don't want to see any black onto it. So I'm going to let that cook for a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, our onions have a little bit of colour, not too much colour, there's no black on them, and they're nice and soft. So once they get to this stage, we want to add in our pumpkin. If your heat's getting a little bit too hot like mine is, just turn it down. We don't want to see any smoke coming in. So we're going to add our pumpkin and sweet potato into the pan. Just be careful when adding it in. Just like that. You want to give it a good stir just so you get all that nice flavour mixed in. And then from there you want to add your stock. So while that's cooking, I want to talk about how we're going to blend our soup. So we've got 2 different machines here. You might have a Thermomix or something that looks a little bit different. That's fine. If you're not sure how to use it, just make sure you ask a parent or carer. So the 2 things I have here is a bar mix. This is the one that I'm going to use because it means that I can blend my soup all together. But you do need to be careful with this one because it can spray hot liquid. The other one is your blender. With this, make sure that it's not plugged in when you go to pour your soup into it, and you want to let it cool down a little bit because if it's too hot, the top lid can build up pressure and the top lid can come off. Again, make sure that you check with your parents, look at where the max fill line is and don't overfill it. Okay guys, so as you can see, the soup is now ready to be pureed, and as I said before, I prefer to use my bar mix because I can do it all at the same time. If you don't have access to one of these, you can use a blender. So what I'm going to do is very carefully puree it until it's all nice and smooth, making sure that the actual blade is right down the bottom and I don't lift it up high. So give it a puree. Once your soup is completely pureed and there are no lumps left, you can serve up your soup. If you wanted an extra challenge, you could try making a damper or a simple bread or even a garlic bread, and I'll include the recipes below. I really hope that you and your family enjoy your soup, and I look forward to seeing all the amazing photos. That's it for us today, guys. See you next week. Have a wonderful time cooking. Bye.